Leo, can you hear me? Can you please
Yes.
share your screen?
It says that. Oh, never mind.
So did you have a chance to write down the master round? Leo,
Yes.
did you write the master round and see what could be the
Yeah.
output? Will it work alone if we use master round?
I think I called it wrongly. Is it capitalized? It's just math.round, right?
I haven't seen your screen yet. It takes some time to see it. So it is a math.round. So and then you have to put. Okay, let me see then. Master round, yes, it should be correct. Yes, it should be correct. It doesn't like it. Let me see. Location mask. Location mask. So I believe try to come before the mass dot round, and here put double, and then mass dot round. So you cast it to double here. Still cannot find it. Wow. Round, round, round. Can you use R small instead of capital? Okay.
Oh, I think, yeah.
Okay, so as you can see, if we use directly the master round, what does it do? If it is
It
20.5,
only
it
rounds
just
to the whole number. Yeah.
okay. So there is a common trick that people use if we have
That yeah.
something like that.
Multiply by 10 and then round and then divide by 10 again.
Yes, you're smart enough to know that.
Okay.
But do you know why we multiply by 10 and then divide by 10?
Yeah, because it has to be to one decimal place. So if you multiply by 10 and then round it to the whole number, then that'll be like rounding it to like the 0.1.
So if it is 20 by 5, 20.5, I multiplied by 10, it become 205, right?
Yes.
And 0.21, whatever value there. And then when we round it, we end up with having 2.5, right? And then we divide it by
Yes.
10 again, so it's 20.5 sharp. Am I right? Okay, good. Okay, excellent. So we can continue our class, please.
Yep.
Okay. So, Leo, we was talking yesterday about the packet switching. Can you recall back what did we explain yesterday?
The process of packet switching.
Yes. So, yes, if we want to move this data, we divide it into packets, right? And
Yes.
then we send it to the core switches over the internet. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And first, this is how in reality the core switches, the core routers of the internet looks like. Okay. So
Yep.
of course they are not just a small routers, and every packet here actually have something called hop. So after how many hops after, so once it moves from one router to another, this hop value is reduced by one. It moves from one to another, it is reduced by one. So after a few hops, maybe 10 hops or something, then it becomes zero. If it becomes zero, this packet is discarded and it will be deleted. It will not reach the destination. So depending on the utilization of every router, it will decide which route it will make the packet go through. Some will, S2 will decide to give packet 1 to router 4, but maybe it will decide for packet 4 to go through S3, and so on. So if one packet takes too many hops or too many routes through a routers, and it reach, for example, a 10 or whatever preset values that they have for the hop, it will be disregarded and it will never arrive here. So because we typically have some error mechanism for communicating through the TCP IP. It depends on the agreed error mechanism that A and B decide first before they try to send the packet. Some error mechanisms say that, okay, if I receive 4 packets, I will send a positive acknowledgement to A that I already received 4 packets. So another way of error checking, so there is many different ways. It is depend on the A and B to decide which ways they choose. Some call, there is something called echo back. So if I received the packet 2, B will send it, it will send back packet 2 to A to confirm that it received it. And it will also send packet 4 upon receiving it again to A to confirm that, to confirm to A that I received packet B, and so on. Okay, so this is one of the ways of error checking. So if there is a packet that is missing, then A will send it back again to B. But can you imagine if a packet is sent 2 times, there might be delay happening. So this kind of delay, if you are in a voice conversation, you find glitches in the voice, or you find the voice is not so clear. You are able to hear it, just barely able to hear it. And if it is a voice, you might see unclarity or blur in the, sorry, if a video, you will be able to see either the picture is not clear or the video is not moving smoothly, and so on. So that could be the result of slow speed, or the data is not reaching in the correct time, or there is an error in sending the packets. Did I make myself clear enough?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know that this is how the packet looks like? So every packet, we said that we have to divide our packets into, we have to divide our data into a few packets, okay? Every packet have a header, payload, and trailer. The header have the IP of the sender, IP of the receiver, and the size of the packet. And the payload is actually the actual data that you're going to planning to send. If it is a voice, then it will be portion of the voice. If it is text, it will be part of the text that is decided to be inside this packet. And there is a trailer. So this is the 3 portion of every packet is fixed, okay? And who decides that? In our case is the TCP/IP. So this is how it looks like, how a data really looks like, sorry, a data packet. So this is the header, and it contains the IP of the sender, IP of the receiver, and this is the real payload or the real data. So this is just an example text of whatever is sent in the payload. And of course, when we are sending a data, we are not sending a text directly. We're sending ones and zero because this is the recognized format to be transferred through the internet. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let us go back to our question. So yeah, we managed to say 2 features about VPN, and we managed to explain data through packet switching. Did you understand the packet switching?
Yeah.
Sure, clear.
Yes.
Okay. So now let me understand from you, what is, if there is an organization that is moving its offices from Africa to Europe, all of the data will need to be moved to a new system. Can you define the term data migration?
Data migration is the process of transferring data from one system to another.
Okay, excellent. And what could be the 2 issues that can arise from data migration?
One is that if the two systems, one is that if the transfer medium has like physical damage done to it, that could cause issues with corruption. And another is that if it isn't like confirmed beforehand, the data that is transferred might not end up being compatible with a new system that is transferred to.
Okay, so let me give you all the possible thing with a little correction here and there. So what you mentioned in general is correct, but of course you have to phrase it in the correct way. So the issues, it could be the data loss and incomplete data. So data loss can be a corruption, incompatible file formats, data transfer errors, and even data mapping problems. Data mapping means that, for example, now in your catapult class, you have distance, and you have speed, and you have an angle. Imagine that you have a database table that have all these formats, okay? But you are moving, for example, I would say, in the previous table, you have here double, that is okay, and here integers in the old table. But in the new table, you have double used with a speed and angle. So this is what we call data mapping problem. So it means that the data, when it is mapped from integer to double, there could be an issue. If you don't really transfer, or even if it is opposite, if we use double at the start, this would be more clearer. So if we use here, if I say initially in the old table, we have here, I think this is more clear. If we have a speed as a double, and in the new table, it is integer. So definitely there could be a potential mapping problem. So that's why you need to confirm that all the data formats is proper, especially if you're moving from one database table to another. So that's another one possibility. And then incomplete data migration, this is clear. I have seen it in reality when people are moving data from an Excel sheet to a database, and the database is maybe like 5 million record, and then you will find that in the middle, the data from the Excel stop somehow, and you are not able to know where exactly it stopped and what could be the possible issue that prevent the data not from, not being fully transferred from the Excel sheet to a database table. So that is what we call incomplete data transfer. You're trying to transfer at 1 million record, and maybe in the middle at record 500,000, then it stops. So that is what we call data transfer is interrupted. Is it clear to you so far? Move to the
Yes.
next. Okay, so data accuracy, again, if you are not doing a correct migration, so I would say you will have problems with the data. So you could be transferring data from bank tables, from one bank table to another, and you will find that numbers, maybe because of using different data types, so you find that numbers rounded somehow, or even truncated or shifted. So if a client, for example, having 100.55 in one transaction, and then you are keeping and transferring all the history of transactions, and data got truncated somehow. So you find this 55 is removed from all the history of transactions. So if we lose 50 cent or 55 cent on every kind of value inside the client bank account, and then we sum all, then we might end up by a few 10 or 20 or $100 missing in the calculation. And imagine if you have 1 million client for the bank, so we are talking about a lot of money. So that's why you will find that a lot of banks and hospitals use old legacy systems until now, and they will be hiring people who are using programming language that is never used anymore, just to maintain that systems and to avoid losing, um, stopping the operations, or even causing problems or data integrity problems or errors in the business. So that's why big companies, big organizations, banks and hospitals dislike to do this migration, and it make it impossible for future technology upgrades to really occur or happen. That's specific and clear in the banking sector and the hospital and the medical sector. Okay, so security risks when you are trying to migrate the data. If you are trying to migrate the data for your clients in the bank, so you're exposing the data to the people who are doing the migration. So the data can leak out. So imagine if you have uh, rich people history records are exposed to other people who are not supposed to be part of the bank system employees, and because of the migration, then the data are exposed out. So that's what we call security risk. So time, okay, the migration in general is time and costly, because there is a lot of validations that need to be done and to confirm that the old data is actually copied correctly, especially if you have large amount of data. I have faced that specifically because writing validation checks to go to, for example, from an Excel to check that every cell is actually moved correctly from the old system to the new system. That alone, the validation process alone, is actually taking a long time. Okay, are you able to follow up with me?
Yes.
Okay, so the most dangerous thing here is misinterpretation. So that can happen with dates, currencies, and character sets. So typically, allow me, please, give me 2 seconds, please. I will not off, just give me 2 seconds. Okay, I am back. the problem here that dates differ. If you talk about dates, especially if we look at dates in US and UK, you will find sometimes they switch the place for the months and the days in some of the dates format. So yeah, as you can see here, the date and the months in certain dates, they are switched. So the months will come first and then the day can come second. Year, of course, normally in the end. Or even it can be written all the way around like that. And also, uh, just a simple example, if we are transferring a table that have USD, US dollars, or even dollars, we refer to it as dollars, and these dollars actually can get confused with other currencies, like Zimbabwean, they use in their country the currency called, I believe, dollars also. So they use the word dollars. Character sets, especially in database tables, differs, and that can result in cryptic or unclear or text that change it from normal English to become question marks, and that's really common. I have seen that a lot. So just because of using character set, different character set from one text to another, or from one table to another, from the old table, this old database table, you are transferring it to a new database table with a different character set, you might find your information being transferred as question marks. And that is a problem, because that means that your migration is not correct, and then you have to do a lot of correcting operations to be able to discover and fix that kind of errors. Did I manage to explain that correctly?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I think let's move. So I would say here, this is about control. So a company is planning to transfer. This is an exam question, like we always do. A company is planning to transform its office building into a smart building. Among other things, a smart building can control the opening and closing of its doors. Outline two other operations that can be controlled by a smart building. So, are you able to give me some insights here?
Some operations that can be
Control?
controlled by a smart building.
Yes.
Two
Two
other
other,
operations.
yes.
One would be whether the lights are on or off.
Okay, good.
And another would be the temperature.
Okay, so what would they need to be able to control the temperature? They need to control the temperature through the operation of what and what?
A heater or an air conditioner.
Perfect. Okay, so that's excellent. And then sensors and processors and output transducer are vital components of a smart building. They play an important role in the collection and management of data. Explain how a smart building can control the opening and closing of all its doors. You should refer to sensors, processors, and output transducers.
Well, I'd assume a proximity sensor would first of all check to see if a person's standing in front of the doors, and then that signal would be sent to the processor, and then the processor would send a signal to the output transducer, which would then make the door open according to that.
Okay, perfect. How we close the doors then?
And then after that, well, generally, what would happen is once the proximity sensor detects that there's no person standing, there's no person there anymore, there would be a timer of a few seconds and then close.
Excellent. Excellent. So the one who is responsible for that is the processor, am I right?
Yes. The processor would do the timing.
Okay, good. And so an operating system has a significant role in the smart building system. Identify two functions of this operating system.
Yeah. Well, first of all, the operating system would be so the operating system would be managing the devices connected to the system, so like the sensors and such. And another function would be well, even if this is a smart building, people would like might still need to like change things manually at times. So people would need like an interface for that.
Okay. So I would say, okay. Well, this need to be a complete answer to be able to get the full mark for it. So I will explain that in details. But first, give me a suggestion for one technique that this operating system might use to determine when a hardware device need attention.
Pollen
Okay, what else?
interrupts.
Okay, what's the difference between the polling and the interrupt?
Oh well, an interrupt is just like making like a specific a task like take priority by like stopping like the other tasks. And then like a polling would be like uh I don't know how it's like polling is like it's like only like take how do I say
Okay, so polling, Leo, is like it's like you're having a for loop. Previously, you have the for loop for the catapults, and you have a number of cycles. In this case, might be not proper to use a for loop, maybe a while, because while will can continuously run forever. So pooling is like putting some operation, read sensor here like that, and you might also put something like sleep for maybe 2 seconds. So while true, you are going to read the sensors. So this is pulling. What you are doing here is like pulling. You are reading all the sensors, and then you sleep for 2 seconds, and then the while loop will come again and read all the sensor data. So every 2 seconds, you keep reading all the sensor values. So you can divide. You can say here, for example, this is the door sensor. Maybe for the air condition, you don't really need so tight time. So you might be say a read temperature sensor and say here sleep for maybe 1 minute or even 2 minutes. We have to close and open again, Leo.
Yep.